The National Football League, or NFL, is a professional organization with an amazing logo. If you do not already know what their logo looks like, you will easily think it is the United States seal of authority. Since its formation in 1920, the organization has stayed true to using what looks like a shield as its logo while paying tribute to the United States flag. Today, the NFL is the most prestigious football league in North America, with 32 professional football teams competing every year for the championship. But the question is, do you understand what each element on the NFL logo means? Do you know how the organization was able to stay on course over the years? Well, let's find out. Many call it the NFL Shield, and some others call it the Patriotic Shield. It doesn't have a distinct name. However, it does reflect the commitments of the National Football League, NFL, to sport and the people of the United States. The 8 stars, on the other hand, reflect the NFL's current 8 divisions. You will find 4 on the left side and the other 4 on the right side. Together, they represent 8 different divisions. The records say that to add these 8 stars, they had to remove about 22 smaller stars from the shield. But even though the National Football League has changed its logo a lot over the years, it still has a lot in common with the one it used at the start. From 1920 to now, every new NFL logo shares a striking resemblance with the first logo. And taking a look at the records of all their past logos, it is obvious that each change has a purpose. Mostly, the goal is to bring it up to standards or to better convey what the group stands for. Let's check out the features of the NFL logo from inception to date. The first NFL logo, which was launched in 1920, was a shield that had the colors of the American flag. The National Football League, NFL, has kept a close relationship with the shield logo up to the present day. No matter what changes were made to the team's logo, the shield, the flag's colors, and the stars were still visible. Furthermore, the NFL 1920 logo featured a figure with fangs on top and a point on the bottom. A close look revealed 2 equal halves along its horizontal axis. You would also see the word NFL in yellow on the blue background of the upper section, which has a blue hue. The typeface for the logo appeared to have small serifs. But there is a significant gap between each letter. The second half of the design consisted of a silver background with 4 white stripes, 3 red stripes, and 2 more side pieces with trim. The National Football League went through a logo change less than a decade after it was established. That was in the year 1930. It wasn't anything out of the ordinary. It was a significant change from the first letter. The shield's basic shape stayed the same, but the overall shape was changed, and it stayed that way for all the years that followed. Down the line, the barrel-like aspect of the logo was changed into straight edges that come to a point at the bottom, giving the impression of a spike. In the preceding years, the width of the blue stripe on the logo was gradually reduced. On it was a diagonal American football ball with 13 white stars encircling it, 6 on the right and left and 1 in the middle at the top. Once again, this showed respect for the flag of the United States of America. The lower zone was given a white paint job and highlighted with a bold red NFL inscription. At the letter F, they gave the appearance of a strip by stretching out the leg. The remaining letters all had wide lines, but these lines did not extend over or below the height of the letter. In 1940, the NFL doubled the number of stars that were already there in their background and added a pink ball that had crimson lacing on it. The developers changed the color and length of the bottom margin lines, so the logo now has 6 white stripes and 7 pink stripes. The word mark was moved to a lower position, and stars were added to the upper portion of the design. The tones got more refined and darker as they progressed. In 1953, the designers updated the logo by refining and making the serifs longer and removing the lower part of the right leg of the letters. The designers improved the upper part of the shield by increasing the size of the central protrusion and decreasing the size of the ones on the sides. The red lacing was now white, while the ball had a golden beige color. As a result of these, the 3 letters that make up the logo for the National Football League were given a maroon tint, and the stars were lined up in a row. The National Football League used the emblem that was created in 1953 for another 5 years. The organization updated its visual identity in 1959, and one of the changes that was made was to the crest. In comparison to the earlier one, this was both humorous and professional. The stripes became thinner, which brought the NFL text to the forefront and made it easier to read. Instead of the original black ink, the designers used a bright red in the writing. The ball in the blue part of the logo started out smaller and turned white as it grew. Several changes and modifications were put into effect between the years 1962 and 1983. There was some playtime with the different tones of color as well as the different forms of the letters. However, there was no discernible difference in the overall appearance. The designers of the logo decided to increase the number of stars and letters, and they changed the lacing from red to blue so that it would be the same color as the stars. They ultimately decided to remove the innermost bottom stripes. The National Football League went through yet another logo redesign in 1984. This time, the line that goes around the edge has been expanded, the topside spikes were trimmed, and the colors were changed. As a result, the deep red color in the logo was altered to a crimson hue, and the light blue color took its place. At first glance, the new NFL logo from 1983 appeared to be very similar to the one that had been used previously. However, if you look carefully, you will observe that the width of the border varied from place to place. The designers also moved the circular shape that was in the upper field was moved to a new location. The NFL redesigned the ball and the logo to resemble the one on top of the Vince Lombardi trophy. A total of 25 years were spent using the NFL's 1983 logo. A major adjustment was made to the upper block in 2008, when the designers got rid of 22 smaller stars and substituted them with 8 larger ones. The designers also changed the font by swapping out the round font for a geometric font with wide serifs. In addition, the ball that was located in the upper part of the screen suddenly appeared to have a three-dimensional effect. Finally, a simple typeface with serifs was used instead of the ornate one that was previously used. This logo has been in play to date. Now, let's take a look at the history of the NFL itself. The American Professional Football Association, APFA, set up the National Football League, NFL, in 1920. The name of the league was officially changed to the National Football League before the 1922 season. After the standings at the end of the season were used to choose champions until 1933, a playoff system was adopted, which resulted in the National Football League championship games from 1933 through 1966. This game was played until 1966. After the National Football League, NFL, and its opponent, the American Football League, AFL, made the decision to combine their leagues, the first Super Bowl was played in 1967 to determine which of the two leagues had the best team. Since the merger of the two leagues was finalized in 1970, the last game of every NFL season has been the Super Bowl. The National Football League, NFL, has the most fans of any professional sports league in the world, with an average of 67,591 people. Furthermore, it is the most well-known sports league in the United States. The Super Bowl is also one of the largest club sports events that take place all over the world. Individual games have been among the most watched television programs in the history of the United States, and by the year 2015, all 5 were included on Nielsen's list of the top 5 all-time most watched television broadcasts in the United States. The National Football League brings in the most revenue and boasts some of the most valuable franchises of any professional sports league. To wrap up this video, let's look at some NLF facts. Every fan of the National Football League knows a thing or two about the organization and its best team. But I bet you knew nothing about some of the facts I am about to mention. 1. The National Football League does not pay taxes because it is a non-profit organization. 2. 1939 marked the debut of the National Football League on television for the first time. The game was shown on around 500 televisions across the city of New York. 3. The National Football League is divided into 2 divisions, which are known as conferences. They are, namely, the National Football Conference, NFC, and the American Football Conference, AFC. Every conference is broken into 4 divisions, and each of those divisions contains 4 different teams. 4. On January 15, 1967, the first ever Super Bowl game was played. 5. A National Football League season is made up of 4 weeks of preseason, 17 weeks of the regular season, and a single elimination playoff season in which all 12 teams play each other only once. The Super Bowl is the most important game of the year. 6. Each team in the NFL is given 1 week off after playing 16 games. After the 16 games of the regular season, the top 6 teams in the standings will move on to the postseason. 7. The Vince Lombardi Trophy is given to the winner of the Super Bowl game every year. It is made of sterling silver, and its value in United States dollars is greater than $25,000. 8. Jackie Robinson is well known for being the first black athlete to participate in Major League Baseball, MLB, in 1945. 9. Green Bay and the New York Giants are the only teams in NFL history to win the Super Bowl 3 times. 10. There have been 6 clubs that have gone winless in a season since 1944. 11. It takes 3,000 cows to supply the NFL with enough leather to last a year. 12. Names were not added to NFL jerseys until the 1960s. 13. The 1976 to 1977 Tampa Bay Buccaneers had the longest losing streak in NFL history, with 26 games. 14. The last Super Bowl to be held in Miami was in 2010, when the Indianapolis Colts and the New Orleans Saints played. 15. The home team must supply 24 footballs for the game. 16. The NFL had an 8-round draft for the first time in 1993. 17. There have only been 8 occasions in NFL history when a club has won back-to-back titles. 18. The Washington Redskins were the final team in the National Football League to field an entirely black roster. They were the team with the worst record in the league at the time. 19. In the National Football League, NFL, players were not required to wear helmets until the year 1943. 20. The National Football League in the United States has the shortest regular season of any major professional sport. 21. There are fewer marriages on Super Bowl Sunday than on any other day of the year in the United States. 22. The asking price of $1.5 billion places it among the most valuable franchises in the National Football League. 23. A 30-second commercial that was broadcast during the Super Bowl in 2011 cost the sponsor approximately $3 million. 24. Tom Dempsey kicked the most amazing field goal in the history of the National Football League in 1970. He was 22 years old when he began playing kicker for the New Orleans Saints. In conclusion, whatever it is with the American flag, it is not as small as you think. Personally, I love the National Football League, NFL, particularly the Shield and the United States flags. The National Football League, NFL, season is one of the best sports seasons that fans look forward to. So the professional football team logo is perfect.